has to be considered a grand jury. So this is speeding up that that delay of in the system where every case has to go before the grand jury.
How does the pre-trial release?
That's one of the early programs. It's about 2 years old now, and that's to get people out of jail that shouldn't be there. And there's some people who should be in jail who aren't. And frequently, the guy that should be in jail is the one who can put up the cash to get out. It comes to my attention that I don't feel it's necessary to call a city council meeting for. I don't think it's necessary to call you individually about, but you should feel free, I think, to call me.
Of course, really what they're doing, I think, is addressing a problem that's essentially mine rather than his. He has all latitude in the world in organizing for the handling of the work in his office, and he can organize with a variety of assistants. So I think it really is essentially a question of a manager, but his views would be important. The point is, here it hasn't been presented. It's come from a third source, and it may never be presented. But in view of the question, maybe we ought to see if it is going to be presented.
It's obvious that something needs to be done to make it more effective and efficient.
I'd like to know where the talk did begin, or do we know that?
Mayor Wise, the Booz Allen Hamilton report was presented today, and one thing that it called for was the staggered terms of city councilmen. Do you favor that idea?
Well, now, the staggered terms were prescribed by them, assuming the 4-year term for a councilman. I think there would be some real advantages to that. They also spoke to a 2-year term for mayor in order that those so-called off-year elections would have more interest, and I think that was good, too. This is the first time I've seen the report. As you know, I turned over the whole thing to a city council committee, which Fred Zeter chaired, and this is the first time I saw it today. So I'd have to look into it a little more deeply to say definitely whether I'd be in favor of a 4-year term for a councilman or not.
The report also suggested a salary of $15,000 annually for the mayor. How do you feel about that? Not for yourself, but...
Well, yeah, that's the first thing I'd want to point out is I've never been in favor of an increase while I was in office. I think a $15,000 a year office for pay for the office of mayor would be good in that it would attract more of the average man type of candidate, which seems to be the trend in the country right now. I believe people are demanding somebody who is more relevant, to use the current term, to minorities, to young people, to the aged, etc., and I think that usually tends to be a younger person.
What do you think the reason was that the report did not speak to the issue of single-member districts?
I can't really answer that. You'd have to talk to Fred Zeter, the chairman of that committee, or members of the committee.
Was the firm of Booz Allen and Hamilton invited to look into the possibility of single-member districts?
Again, I really don't know the answer to that. Once I appoint the committee, I leave it strictly up to the committee, and I haven't really had a chance to talk to Chairman Zeter about that.
What's the most valuable thing to you that's come out of this retreat?
Really, there's so many that it's difficult to single any one particular thing out. I would say probably the most valuable would be the session we had with George Schrader, that is, the members of the council had with George Schrader, the incoming city manager, where we established certain things. We just more or less bared our souls to each other and expressed to each other what our goals and plans and, well, the things that we wanted most for the city of Dallas. And of course, the greatest thing is we all have that mutual love for the city.